Social Science, Grade 8, Block 4, Colonialism and Tribal Societies by teacher Shikha. Student will be able to understand the changes in the ways of life of the tribals during British era. The policies introduced by British that changed tribal life in India. Reaction of tribal communities. Analyze the motives of the British to control tribal areas in India. Children, let's discuss and understand the problem. List the problems shifting cultivators did face under British rule. For administrative and economic reasons, the British were feeling uncomfortable with the shifting cultivators and wanted them to settle down and become peasant cultivators. Settled peasants were easier to control and administer than people who were always on the move. The British also wanted a regular revenue source for the state, so they introduced land settlements for the state. In fact, Jhum cultivators who took to plough cultivations often suffered since their field did not produce good yields. The new forest laws also affected the lives of shifting cultivators. Shifting or Jhum cultivation is usually done on small patches of forest land under the forest laws. The British extended their control over all forest and declared that forests were state property. Thus, the Jhum cultivators were prevented from practicing Jhum cultivation freely. Many were forced to move to other areas in search of work and livelihood. The next yet important point is, how did the powers of tribal chiefs change under colonial rule? The laws of tribal groups changed during British rule. The function and powers of the tribal chiefs changed considerably. They were allowed to keep their land titles over a cluster of villages and rent our lands. As earlier, how they were enjoyed before the arrival of British were no longer in force. They were required to follow the British and discipline the tribal groups on behalf of the colonial masters. As a result, they lost the authority they had earlier enjoyed among their people and were unable to fulfill their traditional functions. And they had to follow some policies. According to the forest policy, the British declared the forest in India as a state property. Point 2. The tribes who had been using forest resources like fruits, shrubs, timber, wood, etc. were banned. Some forests were classified as reserved forests for they produced timber which the British wanted. Point 3. In these forests, people were not allowed to move freely, practice Jhum cultivation, collect fruits and hunt animals. Shifting agriculture was banned because it was considered dangerous and harmful for the land. The nomadic tribes were regarded with suspicion because these movements could not be tracked easily. Now another important point is, what was Birsa's vision of golden age, and why do you think that Birsa's vision appealed to the people of the region? Let's see. Birsa talked about a golden age as Satyug, an age of truth in which the tribal people would live a good life, construct embankments, tap natural springs, plant trees and practice cultivation to earn their living. This golden age consisted of a reformed tribal society in which there was no place for liquor, uncleanliness, witchcraft, and sorcery. And outside forces like the missionaries, Hindu landlords, money lenders, traders, and Europeans. The vision was appearing to the tribal people as all the outside forces that Birsa talked about were indeed thought of by everyone as the root causes of their misery and suffering. So the tribal population, being conservative, was interested in retaining the existing salient features of their society. Tribal movements were inspired by revolutionary tendencies. They wanted to make use of the situation to fight and eliminate evils and ill tendencies that existed in the contemporary tribal society. A complete summary of the tribal rebellions during British rule in India is discussed in your content book. So, children, please read your content book and mark the difficulties whichever you face while reading so we can clear it during our online sessions. Also, please try to solve the workbook, the worksheets, and we can discuss that also during our online class. Several other tribal communities also revolted against the colonial power, and the zamindars, moneylenders, landlords, and revenue officers various other parts of the countries. Of these, mention may be made of the Nagas, the Garos, and the Kolis. Kolis of Gujarat raised the banner of rebellion during 1824 to 28, 1839, and 1840. In the Maharashtra region, these Kolis also revolted against the zamindars like their brethren in other parts of the country. They too were ousted from their ancestral lands by the zamindars and landlords. Along with attacks on zamindar, these Kolis also committed dacoits in Maharashtra. However, the Khasi confederacies, a collection of about 25 small states in the northeastern part of India. Hence, it is very much clear that tribes of India had faced big major problem during that time. Children, please read the lesson from your content book. Thank you. Have a safe day. Bye bye.